Hello, 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 and welcome back to my purple song Home. Thank you for joining me for another week, another topic. I do not take for granted the fact that you are here, because you could be anywhere else in the world doing anything, but you are here with me, listening to me ramble on about my life experiences. But I pray that each week that you do get something out of what I'm saying, because if it's not one thing about me, is that you live and you learn. And I have lived, I have lived, and keep on going through mess. But you know what? One of the things that my aunt says, my auntie Shirley, one thing that she is gonna tell younger folks is keep on living. She's an older, mature woman who has lived, you hear me? And the one thing she is gonna tell you is just that, keep on living. And I am doing just that, and I have some things to tell you. When she says keep on living, she says it when life shifts. She says it when something ends. She says it when you think you've lost something. And today I want to talk about a season that many women think is the end of the world for them. But I'm going to tell you, from a person who has gone through the season of life already, the change, the almighty change. I'm here to tell you that menopause did not end me. It introduced me to myself. If you're in it, if you're approaching it, if you're afraid of it, confused by it as I was, stay with me through this video, because we're going to talk about it. We are walking through this in layers. We're going to talk about what menopause really is, why it feels like an identity shift. And from that identity shift, we are going to talk about why older women stop tolerating disrespect, why the world fears women who no longer seek approval, the spiritual growth in this season, and what to actually do in this season. This isn't about decline. This is about design. So take a breath and keep on living. So while we talk about all this, I am going to do my nails really quickly. I have a date tonight. I do. I do. But anyway, I opted not to go sit in somebody's nail salon, because who has time for that? The older I get with that, the more I'm just like, listen, let me do it myself. And that goes with my hair too. No, I love getting my hair done, don't get me wrong. But it's just quicker for me to do it. It truly is quicker for me to do my hair, which I'm gonna do tomorrow. So don't look at this, please. But anyway, I'm gonna try this Sally Hinson instant gel or miracle gel. Yeah, so I'll probably do more yapping than polishing, but let's get into this. Top coat first. Base coat first. All right, so let's begin with what's happening to you physically. Because if you don't understand your body, you may misinterpret the shift. Menopause is medically defined as the point when a woman hasn't had a menstrual cycle for 12 consecutive months. It typically happens between the age of 45 and 55. But here's the thing. Menopause is not just a medical event. It's a biological transition that triggers emotional and spiritual recalibration. It is hormonal quieting, emotional reordering, identity unraveling, spiritual confrontation. For decades, estrogen and progesterone were like background music in your system. They influenced attachment, nurturing instincts, anxiety responses, even people-pleasing tendencies. And then the music changes. And when the music changes, the room feels different. With that hormonal quiet, something else gets louder, and that's you. Now, for some women, that shows up as mood swings, irritability, brain fog, sleep disruption, anxiety. But underneath all of those symptoms is something deeper. You are no longer hormonally wired to center everyone else. And when that wiring shifts, your identity begins to shift as well. And this is where we get personal with this video. I didn't start my menopause journey in my mid to late 40s. I actually started it my mid 30s. By 40 years old, I had my last cycle. And the wild part is, I was going through all of the symptoms and I didn't even know it. The anxiety, the sleep disruption, the irritability, the emotional detachment, the brain fog, the rashes. I can go on and on about all of the symptoms that I've experienced. I thought I was stressed. I thought I was overwhelmed. I thought something was wrong with me. I felt like that episode of Golden Girls when Dorothy just knew there was something wrong with her, but no doctor could tell her what was going on. Because I did go to the doctor. I did take tests. My doctor said I was fine. The rashes I was going through. Oh, just change deodorants. Because I was getting rashes under my arms and I never got rashes under my arms before. Oh, it's the deodorant that you're using. No, it was menopause. One thing that I did not realize was that when you don't understand your body, you misinterpret your becoming. And I almost misinterpreted mine. Nobody was talking about perimenopause in your 30s. No one was explaining the hormonal shifts that can begin years before your final cycle. No one told me that early menopause was a thing. Well, I heard about it, but I figured it's like 1 in a million chances that A, it would be me, and B, that this actually happens to women. But guess who was wrong? This one. So while my body was transitioning, my mind was confused. And confusion makes transition feel like a crisis. That's why education matters. That's why conversations matter. And that's why I share my journey openly. One thing I do know is clarity is powerful, but relief is necessary. I did an extensive 2-part video breaking down my full menopause journey. The symptoms I experienced, what surprised me, what I did to relieve my symptoms, and the emotional and spiritual shifts that I experienced. And I wrote more deeply about it on my blog, mypurplesong.com, if you want to go check that out. I also listed products that helped me through my journey. And I shared a more deeper and more intimate list of things that helped me, if you know what I mean. Some things you cannot say publicly. Some things you share woman to woman, because awakening is powerful, but relief matters too. Now here's where the shift happens. Once you understand what's happening biologically, you can begin to understand what's happening internally. When hormones quiet down, distractions quiet down too. And when distractions quiet down, clarity rises. You start noticing things that you tolerated for years. The jokes that weren't funny, the relationships that drained you, the expectations that suffocated you. And you start asking, why was I accepting that? It's not that you become mean or anything. You become clear. And clarity changes behavior. That's why many women in this season do not tolerate disrespect. They stop arguing for their value. They stop over-explaining boundaries. They stop begging to be chosen. Because the shift is this. You move from being chosen to choosing. And that is a psychological and spiritual awakening. Do you realize that in scripture, older women are instructed not to compete, but to teach what is good? Teaching requires clarity. You cannot teach what is good if you're still seeking approval, which brings us to something deeper, validation. When you're younger and just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, validation feels like oxygen. But when you mature, especially through menopause, something radical happens. You don't need to be admired to feel worthy. You don't need to be pursued to feel powerful. You don't need to be needed to feel important. You are. And when a woman reaches that place, she becomes unmanipulatable. If that's a word. Is that a word? Now ask yourself this. What systems benefit from women being unsure of themselves? And that leads us to why this season makes the world uncomfortable. Let's be honest about something. A woman who no longer seeks approval is unsettling because she cannot be controlled by flattery. She cannot be silenced by rejection. She cannot be baited by attention. Society markets youth because the youth is impressionable, but wisdom is disruptive. After Sarah gave birth to Isaac, her story shifted. She was no longer striving to prove God's promise. It had already manifested. And menopause can feel like that. You are no longer striving to prove you are desirable. You are deciding what deserves access. And when a woman begins deciding instead of auditioning, the energy around her changes. Which brings us to the deepest level of them all, and that is spiritual growth. Because this is not just psychological, it's spiritual. There is a holy confrontation in this chapter. God begins asking, who are you without performance? Who are you without fertility? Who are you without applause? And at first, those questions become uncomfortable because I was uncomfortable, especially with who are you without fertility? You have never met yourself without those layers before, and that can be scary. Menopause forces stillness, and stillness reveals identity. Be still and know that I am God. When the striving slows down, the knowing increases. That's why many women in this season return to school. I did. They launch businesses, they write books, they leave unhealthy patterns. I did. And they finally rest. Not because they're rebellious in any way, because they're awake. And once you are awake, you have a choice. Which brings us to, what do you do with this awakening? Well, I'm glad you asked. I only got one hand done. Well, it's not done. First layer is on. But anyway, let's continue. Awakening without action becomes frustrating. So here's how to navigate this season with power. First, you are allowed to grieve what's ending. You can honor youth, but still embrace maturity. Grief does not mean regret. It means transition. Second, redefine your beauty. Shift from, am I still attractive, to, am I aligned? Beauty becomes presence. It becomes authority, and it becomes peace. Thirdly, protect your energy. No over-explaining, no rescuing adults, no auditioning. And the fourth thing I would say is to seek support. Hormone therapy, period, nutritional shifts, and exercise. Exercise is extremely important. Stewardship is wisdom. Finally, I would say to lean into spiritual depth. Read scripture differently now. You will notice women you overlooked before. Deborah, Hannah, Elizabeth. You are not late. You are layered. If you are in menopause right now and feel lost, you are not disappearing. You are emerging. If you feel angry, maybe it's clarity. If you feel detached, maybe it's discernment. If you feel alone, maybe it's an invitation. When my auntie says, keep on living, I absolutely understand what that means now. Every season reveals something new. Menopause did not end you. It introduced you. It introduced you to the woman that no longer begs, no longer chases, no longer performs. It introduced you to the sharper version of yourself. And sharpened women are not to be feared. They are to be respected. You are not declining. You are defining. Keep on living. And I told you I was going to be doing more talking than painting. So I do like the first coat that I put on. I just got to do the other hand now. But my message is done. And wish me luck on this date tonight. No. Anyway, I will see you all next week for another video. And again, it's a video that's very personal to me. I just pray that each month, all of the videos that I'm doing are very intentional, and they are things that have affected me and my life. And I just want to share some of the things that I've learned over the last few years of my life. The struggle that I have gone through. I pray that this touches you in a way that I intended to do. So enjoy your week. And I pray that everyone has a good week and live, laugh, love, and all those good things. And I will see you next week. Bye for now. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, share my videos. And okay, now you can go. Okay, bye. Hold on, Sally Henson. Hold on, Sally. Miss Sally, look at that. Oh my gosh, this. Okay, Sally. And it looks like gel. Like it looks like, well, duh. I mean, okay, that was stupid for me to say, but it looks like a gel polish. Don't make me go buy every color that they had in there.